She'd been conditioned to expect pain. Every hand that reached for her had taken something. So when the human knelt beside her, silent and slow, she recoiled without thinking, arms wrapped tight around herself, eyes wide with fear. But he didn't touch her. Instead, he draped a blanket around her trembling shoulders, gentle, warm, and wordless. She froze, confused, then the weight of safety settled in, and the tears came fast. For the first time, no one demanded anything from her. No chains. No commands. Just comfort. That moment, quiet and kind, was the first time she began to believe she might be more than what they'd used her for. The cell was small, too small for hope to survive. Cold metal walls, a faint chemical stench, and light that buzzed overhead like it was mocking the silence inside. She sat curled against the far corner, her arms wrapped tightly around her knees, chin tucked down to hide the tremble in her lip. Her hair, once a striking silver cascade, now hung limp over her shoulders, matted and streaked with dust. Her skin, dusky lavender, bore the marks of bindings and neglect, scrapes along her wrists, bruises that never seemed to fade. Her tunic was threadbare and short, frayed at the hem and clinging loosely to her thin frame. She didn't hear the door unlock, not really. Not until the footsteps approached. And then her body stiffened, instincts honed by months of cruel routine. She didn't dare look up. When they came close, they always took something: dignity, food, silence. But the footsteps stopped. For a moment, the air stood still, charged, silent. Then something soft and warm touched her shoulders. She gasped, body flinching violently away, arms thrown up to shield herself from the blow that always came next. But it didn't. No hand struck her. No voice barked a command. Instead, the blanket stayed, draped gently over her like snowfall, the warmth of it instantly strange against her chilled skin. A human voice followed, low and calm. "I won't hurt you." That voice. It wasn't sharp. It wasn't loud. It didn't demand, it offered. She lowered her arms slightly, just enough to peek through the curtain of her hair. He knelt in front of her, not reaching, not staring. Just waiting. A man, maybe in his 30s, dressed in a dark utility coat with a visible medkit at his hip and dirt still clinging to the soles of his boots. His hands rested on his knees, open, empty. He looked at her not like she was broken salvage, but like she was real. "You're safe now," he said softly. "I swear it." Her eyes welled. No, that couldn't be true. Safety didn't exist. Not for her. But still, his words didn't strike like weapons. They wrapped around her like the blanket did, confusing and warm. He sat back slowly, giving her space. She didn't move. She didn't trust it. Couldn't. But when the tears started slipping down her cheeks, she didn't stop them. There was no force holding them back now. No order barking at her to stop being weak. Just silence, and the strange weight of warmth over her shoulders. Later, when the guards didn't come for her, when the cell didn't seal back shut after he left, she sat for hours with the blanket still around her, trying to figure out if it had been real. She clutched it tight. It didn't vanish. The next time he returned, he brought food, real food. She didn't touch it at first. Just stared at it like it might explode. He didn't pressure her. He just set it down beside her gently and said, "No payment. It's yours." Then he left again. And the cell door didn't lock. She sniffed it cautiously, then tasted it, then cried again quietly. Days passed, then weeks. And with each visit, he didn't ask for anything. He brought soft cloth to wrap her wounds, cleaned the gash on her shoulder, applied salve to the brand scar. She never asked him to, but he never hurt her. Not once. That alone was enough to unravel her understanding of the world. Eventually, she asked his name, quietly as he changed a bandage. He smiled just barely and told her. "Reed." She whispered hers next, though it felt strange to say it aloud after so long. "Leary." From then on, he said it every time he entered, like it was a prayer. "Leary." And the more he said it, the more she started to believe it was still hers. When she finally stepped out of the cell, he didn't rush her. He just waited outside, hands in his coat pockets, expression calm but hopeful. She walked slowly barefoot, the blanket still around her shoulders. Her knees were weak from disuse, but she walked anyway toward him. He guided her through the ship. There were no shackles, no collars, just soft lights, and open doors. The quarters he offered were small but clean, a bed, a sink, a shelf with folded clothes. She touched everything, unsure if it was a trap. But when she turned to him in confusion, he just said, "It's yours. You don't owe me anything." That night, she sat on the bed for a long time, unable to sleep. She kept expecting the room to vanish, the floor to fall out from under her, for the real test to begin. But it didn't. The silence wasn't heavy, it was peaceful. The next morning, he left a new blanket outside her door. Not because she needed it, but because she liked the weight. It made her feel real. Weeks passed, and she began to smile again, tentatively at first, then brighter. She braided her hair for the first time in months. Her skin began to heal. Her voice, once fragile and whisper-soft, grew stronger. She even laughed once, startled by a joke he made while repairing a console. The sound surprised them both. He never touched her without asking, never told her what to do. Only invited, only waited. And one night, when they sat in silence together watching stars pass outside the viewport, she said, "Why did you help me?" He looked over at her, eyes gentle. "Because someone once helped me." She blinked. That answer didn't make sense. But something in his voice told her there was a story there, a painful one, and that he'd chosen deliberately to stop the cycle. That night, she fell asleep on the couch beside him. She didn't mean to. She just let her guard down, for the first time in what felt like forever. And when she woke, the blanket was over her again. Tucked in. Not thrown. Not dropped. Her eyes burned as she pulled it close, burying her face in the warmth. He hadn't taken anything. He'd given. And in the silence, in the safety, in the stillness of that gentle ship, Leary began, at last, to live.